What do you believe right now that's making you feel this way? And when you analyse it, you realise how irrational you can be at times.
Every single one of our major customers and minor customers all shut their doors overnight.
It's not sales per se, but the outcome of it is because people get to know you, they get to see you.
But, what's the culture like at the business? What do we stand for, the values?
I've got to tick that box on my personal development programme I don't really want to be here.
Scaling up a business isn't easy. If it were, we wouldn't have less than 4% of businesses scaling beyond 10 employees or around £1 million turnover level, and less than 1% beyond 50 employees. But the contribution that we make as owner-managers to our economies is immense and should never be underestimated. Yet it can be a tough gig for all of us at times, and only other business owners truly understand the challenges that we face. And through ScaleUp Radio, we aim to help make things a little easier. We interview guests who have been where you are now and may have faced some of the challenges that you are facing. And they offer their thoughts and advice on what has worked for them, as well as what didn't. And we've also combined many of the lessons from these interviews and also through working with hundreds of owner managers over the last 10 years or so into a practical scale-up handbook that we've called the Entrepreneurial Scale-Up System, or ESUS. And it's for owner managers like you and me as we navigate our own scale-up journey. And you can order a copy through your favourite online book retailer or by going to all the W's, esusgroup.co.uk, www.esusgroup.co.uk.
Hello, I'm Granger Forson, www.bizsmart-gloucestershire.co.uk, or find me on LinkedIn. This time on ScaleUp Radio, I speak with Naomi Summers, the owner of Go Get Organised. Go Get Organised is a VA one-stop shop business that are based in the Bristol Bath area. It started 10 years ago as Naomi wanted to use her coordination skills, which she developed working in the BBC, listen out for this in the episode, but wanted to work from home. She's grown this now into a 30-strong network of experienced people aiding Go Get Organised customers. It's so interesting hearing Naomi's story, especially about how she has kept focused on values and the people fit for the Go Get Organised network, and that now they work together just like any business of employed people. As always, we cover a lot of ground, including using the right technology is key and taking the leap of faith sometimes is required to make it happen. Using the team around you to bounce ideas off, even when they're not direct employees, works so well. And networking is a key way to grow your customer base, so experiment with different formats. What is so fascinating about this conversation with Naomi is how she demonstrates that excellent leadership can bring people together to generate value even when they're not direct employees. I know you'll get a lot out of this episode, so let's go over and hear from Naomi. So hello, Naomi Summers, and welcome to ScaleUp Radio. Please introduce yourself and your business.
Thank you. So I'm Naomi Summers and I run Go Get Organised, and we pretty much do as it says on the tin. We help businesses to get organised, but in a really flexible way on a pay-as-you-go basis. So all services that a business might need under the one roof.
So help me getting organised. Okay, so I'm a small business. Yeah, everything under one roof. Give me some descriptions of the types of services that I would then need and you would be able to help me with.
Okay, so sometimes a typical smaller business might struggle because they don't want to have to employ somebody on a full-time basis. It's a large overhead, and they might get a project in and they might want to scale up or scale down, whatever they need basically during that time. So peaks and troughs of your business. So Go Get Organised. A large variety of what we do is actually virtual assistants. So we have a large amount of virtual PAs, and we do things like content writing. We also do graphic design. We do websites. We do SEO. We do pay-per-click. We do social media. We do marketing, all the things that you can think of that a small business will need, but on a pay-as-you-go basis.
Do you have a large team in terms of the size of your business, or how do you get organised?
Yeah, so I spent 10 years. Go has just literally turned 10 years old at the end of last year. So I have spent 10 years building an amazing network so that you don't have to. So instead of having to trail through CVs or find out who's good or anything like that, in literally one call to me, I can help set up a mini team around you to support you as and when you need to. But again, we won't be offended if we go away again. So you've got the best of both worlds.
Okay. So, yes. So I would... You've talked about marketing. Are there any other skills and things that I could come and have resolved through yourself?
Yeah. So with regards to marketing, so if you were a startup or a business that wanted a rebrand, then basically we could get one of our marketing consultants to work with you. And they can take you through a whole branding exercise to really work out what direction you want to go in, who you're trying to attract. And then we would basically do like a brand marketing exercise with you, which is really affordable. And then bear in mind, we have graphic designers as well. It's great. The marketing consultant can then work with our graphic designer and they link together, and then we can come up with logos, different branding options that might, suit you best. Or you could just use, the consultancy side because you're stuck and you're kind of, just want an extra hand and you just want to know what direction to go in, and then you can have a chat and, unlock that process really and help you move forwards.
And so, marketing would do you do accounting services or bookkeeping? Are there any other aspects of my business that I can outsource?
We do have some of our virtual PA members who do some, simple bookkeeping, more on the admin front, but we're not accountants and we're not qualified bookkeepers, but we can definitely go in and help with invoicing and admin tasks and add expenses and things like that. All the things you basically don't like doing and want to put to the side in a giant pile and not have to take care of yourself. So yeah, absolutely, we can do that. A lot of what we do is, email management, inboxes, customer facing, that type of thing on the virtual PA front, proofreading documents, helping set up PowerPoint presentations, all of those types of things.
Excellent. So take us back. You said 10 years old. So, where were you before? Why did you create Go Get Organised? What was the starting point?
Well, I guess before that, my career was in television. So before Go, I worked in TV. I spent 15 years working at the BBC and other independents. And I pretty much do exactly what I did then. I was a coordinator and I used to set up shoots, and I worked on shows such as DIY SOS, Floggett's Bargain Hunt, some natural history. It was great. Did some crazy stuff. Blew up a power station in Ireland. Took a load of single guys from Cholmondeley in Devon and match made them with a bunch of single ladies in the Highlands. Did some really crazy random stuff. And now what I'm doing is the same sort of thing. It's building teams, and it's great. It's really rewarding. It's nice to see a business flourish and be a part of that. And now I don't have the stress of missing cables, which is a bonus. So actually get the best of both. But yeah, I think, for my TV career was great. I loved it. But then I have my son at the beginning, my children, and I went back after having him, but you can't really go on the shoot so much. It was a bit more restricting. It's quite a hard career to have with a family. And when I went back after my daughter, I decided that was it. I needed to change. So actually me setting up Go Get Organised was, it was something that kind of came out of the blue. I kind of met somebody who was a virtual PA. I decided to transfer my skills and be a virtual PA, and I started working with clients myself. And then all of a sudden I had one of those moments where I thought, actually, there's loads of people like me who might not necessarily be the main breadwinner, but at that time, one of you's got to give if you've got young children and you don't want to lose your confidence and your skills. You've got so much experience to give. You've worked for years in your sector. It must be helpful to another person. And then it made me think, actually, if I build this network of people with different skills to myself, how it could really help and impact small businesses and help them to grow and thrive. And it gives them the flexibility, and it gave us the flexibility. So that's how Go Get Organised came around.
So how many people in your network currently?
So currently I'd say there's probably around 30 of us. And I like to say that most of us are kind of mums. We started out like as mums. And I really like that story because it's it's like it's something that's not tapped into greatly, the mum's talent, and we've got so much skills and experience. It's like we've worked years in our sectors, but the moment you like have a child, it's kind of a bit like, oh, off on maternity leave, that's it, you're kind of cast aside and you got to change what you do. You don't have to, you really don't. And I think Go Get Organised has really pushed that, and it's brought a lot of people back with confidence. Nobody needs hand holding, but since the pandemic, I'd say it's really changed up a bit more. A lot of people have got in touch with us for different reasons. They might have dogs, they might have different properties, they don't want to work full time, and small businesses really can benefit from those skills as and when they need them.
Yes. Yeah, very, very much so. So you're bringing lots of people together that have got a huge amount of experience, but no longer want to work in the 9-to-5 grind of whatever that is. And for whatever reason, in terms of doing that, I talked about lots of women with children having that opportunity of using that. So how do, if people wanted to join your network in terms of their skills, how do you find people that would enrich your skill base?
A lot of the time, I've got to say, the current team that I have speak to others, and then it naturally grows. What people find is on the website, and at the bottom of the website, there is a sign up section. You can just literally put your details in, and then I would get in touch and we would have a chat, and it goes from there. But I guess actually quite a lot of our clients as well, I think, yes, a lot of people don't want to work in the 9-to-5 groove, but a lot of businesses are also the same. A lot of mums run businesses and they are the same. So it actually connects quite nicely.
Yeah. So we talked about clients. So who's your ideal client? Who do you normally sort of end up working with?
I guess we do help a lot of coaches. There's people who coach in many different areas, and it might be that there's a few of them, like there could be 2 or 3 in a practice that do coaching, and we support them and work a bit like an office manager in some respects, and we can be their central point of contact, and a bit like a gatekeeper as well. We're able to help manage by scheduling meetings and managing those inboxes, because when a coach is in a session and working with people, they can't do all of that. You can only be in one place at one time. So we act as an extra hand to their business, like an extra arm on their business. So coaches are great for us. And actually at the moment, we're looking at the possibility of potentially, we've been asked to look at the potential of how because we've got such a great network, could we offer a customer service sort of support option, which is something I'm looking at the moment, because some people don't want to do the customer facing. It's something we've done a little of in the past. Actually, we had a client who had a piece of software, and we answered customer service related issues, and then we learned that piece of software, and then we were able to deliver tutorials. It'd be quite nice to do some more like that, actually. And thinking about it, anyone who might need any support in that area, that would be but as I said, pretty much we can help everyone. So it's really hard because I don't really like to say no to everyone. Do you know what I mean? We can help as many people that need help. So yeah, absolutely.
But there are a lot of VA services that exist out there. Lots of one-man bands, one-woman bands. Yeah, lots of bigger organisation. What makes you different? Do you think? What makes you stand out?
I think the thing that makes us different is the fact you can pay as you go, but it's not just, we don't just have virtual PAs, we have all the services under the one roof. So it might be, and I think it's best and it's really more cost effective to get everybody to work to their skill. So if you have a virtual PA and that's great and it's all going well, great. If you say, I really need some social media banners done, or, I need some sort of flyers created. Now, some of the VAs will go to Canva and they will create that, but it depends on what sort of level that, support you need. So with us, for example, our VA would go straight to our graphic designer, and our graphic designer can then do that at a high level. And some of our graphic designers have worked in ad agencies, London ad agencies, and got really good backgrounds. And so they can do it quickly and efficiently, and they have all the software that they need to do it professionally. And likewise, if some website edits, or you need help in that, or you need a quick landing page or anything like that, then some VAs are capable to do some of those things, but to have a whole team of people at your disposal as and when you need them has surely got to be beneficial.
Well, it must be in terms of you're still going 10 years later and,
still here. We got through a pandemic. If we can get through that, surely we can get through anything.
Absolutely. So what are the sort of, what's changing in the marketplace, do you think, in terms of your clients' needs, and how have you adapted over time? I would say
COVID has been a very good thing for us, which sounds terrible. And I'm so sorry for anyone that struggled who it wasn't, a good time for. But before COVID, because we work in a virtual place, we would often go to a business show or be perceived as if, virtual, really, you're actually doing anything. It kind of felt like that. It might have just been the way that, we came, we felt and we took it. But now everyone has experienced it. So everyone now completely understands how it works. I feel like it's much easier now. I feel like we're accepted better and people just totally get us. So I feel like things have changed for the better, and also people's working patterns have changed, and that's benefiting us as well, because the flexibility that we had before, other people want that same flexibility, and it just gels.
So we talked about customers. You talked about coaches are quite a main one for you. Who else do you sort of typically work with, and how do they find you in terms of wanting help?
So we work with coaches and different consultants. There's a whole load of different types of consultant. We work with disaster management consultants, business consultants, holistic oils consultants, all sorts of things. So it's a real mixed bag of who we can help. Generally, I think the good old word of mouth always comes good, and I always still truly believe in that. I think it's always very nice to have a recommendation, but a lot of people find us through our website, gogetorganised.co.uk, and also, regular networking events I attend. It used to be that we helped most people locally in Bristol, sort of Bath areas, but now actually some of our customers are London, Brighton, Edinburgh. We've kind of scaled around, and I think that whole COVID virtual networking situation just allowed us to open our doors more and meet people you probably wouldn't have met before.
So instead of a company, a business of people that are all connected because of, salaries and they're working for an organisation, you've got a mixture of 30 people across your network. So how do you gel together? How do you organise them in terms of being successful for your business? Go get organised.
We have something called the Go portal, which I spent 2.5 years of my life building, which I got to say wasn't one of my finer moments, but I'm really glad we have it now. And what it does is link our team and our clients together, and it allows clients who use us to be sent weekly timesheets, is how it works. So everything's really transparent. The client can either set the amount of hours that they want a week and say, do you know what, please don't go over this and please flag it if I'm getting to that point. Or they can let it roll, and then the say if it's a virtual assistant, will complete weekly timesheets and then send them off for approval. The actual portal itself, if you don't approve your timesheet as a client, it auto approves in 5 days. And we do that because we really want the client to check that they're happy as they go and everything's really transparent and clear. Because by the end of the month, if they don't do that, it's really hard for everyone to remember what they did at the first week of the month. And then they receive a simple invoice for all services used at the end of the month. So you get weekly timesheets, and then you just get one invoice for everything that you've used that month. So it's nice and clear and straightforward for the clients and the team. And with regards to us as a team connecting, then the people that are local, and there's still a lot of us, we still like to have summer drinks and Christmas drinks. So we don't miss out on any parties because we still like a party. And bearing in mind, quite a lot of us are mums and don't get out much. It's really important to us to get out and have a glass of wine and, chat and meet and share information and knowledge. But we also use Slack. We talk on that a lot. So I guess the other benefit actually to clients using us is the fact that if they have a virtual assistant and they come across something and they're stuck, then the great thing is we can put that out to the rest of the team, because there's always somebody that will know to be able to unlock that and help them. It's like a knowledge bank. It's really useful.
Right. So you're using technology to keep everyone connected together as a business activity, and using technology to help everybody in terms of the virtual world, and then getting together on the social side every now and then in terms of doing stuff. So a lot of businesses, we talk about the structure of the values and how important it is to have values within the business that gels and links everybody together in terms of doing that. How many full-time people do you have in your business? Or are they all? So
they're not all full-time, because that's the whole point. Everyone wants to move away from that.
Yeah. So do you have any full-time staff within Go Get Organised? Or are they all?
Only me. So
only you. Okay.
Only person.
So I'd love to know how do you make values? How do you stick everybody together? Through this concept of values when you're all independent.
I think it's because we all, when I meet people, and I meet everybody personally as a team, I think it's very much a sense of character, personality, and values when I meet them. And it's really important that if I get on with them, then I know the other team will get on with them as well. And that's why we have these social meetups as well. It's strange. It's like a particular, I just know, I get a gut instinct straight away who is right, who I can, work with, and who would be great for the client, because it's very much, if in a virtual world, you're not sat opposite somebody. So you have to know that you trust in that person. The trust needs to be in the communication needs to be a certain way. And it's really important to me to make sure that you get the, similar interests, that personality match types, that links together, and that is somebody that I know that you can work with. And that's what I spend a lot of time doing. And it's not easy, but it's really important to me. And I think that's the core value. It has to be someone that I know you can trust in and that you're going to get on with and have a good relationship with.
Brilliant. So actually, even in a world of people that come together in a network to help and work together, actually values are so important even then to help that gel together.
Probably even more important.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Brilliant. Wonderful answer. That was my intriguing question. So brilliant. Thank you, Naomi. That's really good. So let's go through a bit of the history in terms of the business, in terms of growing over the last 10 years. So what went right, what went wrong, and what would you do again?
I think when I first set up Go Get Organised, I had a good concept, and like with any business, I think you take a couple steps forward, and then you're like, and then you take a couple steps back, and then you have to kind of work it through. And as I mentioned, the Go portal, that was a big moment for me, because Go Get Organised was coming together quite nicely, but my end wasn't so Go Get Organised. I had a bit of a nightmare with the timesheets there for a while, and the quiet sweats on behind doors trying to solve that situation, because they were coming from all angles. So it was just a case of making something work which was straightforward and easy, that nobody really needed any training in. And that was a really hard thing to do, because there was nothing on the market that worked exactly the way I wanted it to. And if it did, you had to buy individual licenses. And then when you've got quite a large team, it's really hard then to afford those monthly payments for everyone and to do that. It's a lot of excess cost. So the Go portal was something which was really, really tough to build. But I ended up working with this fantastic developer in the end, and it's just been brilliant. And now, touch wood, it's still going, and I can adapt it as and when I need to. And I don't think any client has ever asked me how to use it. They might have had a password inquiry or something like that, but never have they said, how do I do this? Which I think says a lot. It was literally had to just be very easy and basic.
No, excellent. Anything? So that was a positive but a difficult one.
Yeah, it was. It was a big one for me. Absolutely. I think other things going forwards is, I think the hardest thing for me is that we can help everyone, and it's like, do we try and find a niche? That's something I'm still kind of working on at the moment. Do we try and find a niche and we stick to that, or do we still keep doors wide open? And I think that's always going to be I think that's a case-by-case basis, because I think we always really want to work with lovely people as well. And I think that's something that I've, you don't have to say yes to everybody. And I think everybody in their business gets to a point where they don't have to say yes to everybody. I want to, because that's just me. I can't help it. I always want to help everyone best I can. But I feel like if I don't fully feel that we can do them justice, then it makes sense not to. Because why would you risk your reputation if actually the simplest thing is to say, I'm really sorry, I can't help you, rather than, go down a road. But yeah, I think trying to find that right sort of client that gels with us is really key as well. So I think that's something that we're always working on.
So any key, first people or people that have joined your network have sort of given you that, right, yes, we could do more, we can achieve more, any sort of, normally we'd call them key hires within businesses. People, any key people that joined your business that are really doing it? So
Sarah's been a big one to work with me, and Tanya's also been a great one. So we've had, for example, Sarah comes from, she's a marketing consultant, and she comes from hospitality, and she's great. And I love it because I can always bounce ideas off of Sarah as well. So it's really nice. So I can use my own team as well to help grow and build ideas and use all their skills and expertise. Like Lauren, our graphic designer, I'll also call upon and say, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? So it's great. And Tanya, we have, she actually used to work in for MTV and set up offices and do lots there. And she's really good with business development. And so what's really good is we've kind of created these mini teams. So Sarah kind of overlooks our social media team because she's a brand consultant. So therefore, we can make sure that when we've had these meetings with a client who needs social help, we know that Sarah's checking that everything's on brand guidelines. And I think that just offers a little bit more than it is just somebody making up content as they go. It's done a little bit more of a strategic way, and that's allowed us to open the doors more. So that's a great area. And with regards to, the virtual PA side, I think it's always great to just capture that right VA with those right good skill, those perfect skills. We have Sue and we have Emma, and they're great because they are like executive PAs, and they are able to help with websites, and they take it a little step forward. So they're also they're like one of those super VAs, who can kind of step into any role that you need them to. So there's a lot of we've got so much talent in the team. It's brilliant.
And is the team all women, or are there any?
No. We have actually recently we've got Ed, who's a VA, and I never thought about helping anyone in this way before, but poor Ed was actually involved in a horrendous accident, a football accident that left him paralyzed from the knee, chest down. And he got in touch. He'd actually got in touch with somebody that I know who runs a business who is advertising for staff. And it would have been on site and it wasn't very accessible. And she recommended that he get in touch with me. And now Ed is actually one of our virtual assistants, and he does lots of research for a client, and that's going really well. And he gets to do it all from home. And actually that's a really, it's great because he's great on his communication. He's fine with his he's got his laptop. He's got everything he needs. He's set up totally brilliantly. He's really efficient, and it works great for him and for us. So that's great. Clients are very, very happy. And we have Andy, who's our web developer, and we have Warren, who's our SEO specialist. So we have three guys, but the rest of us are mainly women. Yeah. Well, we are all women, actually, I've got to say. There's no one in. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah.
So you've talked about lots of ideas, and at one point you got the portal coming along and everything else. How do you manage the sort of the right things that you want to do going forwards and think through and plan?
Well, that's where I think using my team is really helpful, because I'm like, right, okay, can we have a little brainstorm? So I would quite often sit with Emma or with Sarah or with Sue and have a little chat, and with Tanya, and work out which way forward. And then Joe is a VA who's worked with me for quite some time, and I always call up on Joe, and and we'll go for a coffee and chat things through, and it just helps. And I've recently started working with Sian, who is a business coach at the Growth Hub. And I just met her at a networking event, and it's a free service, and she's been really helpful. It's been nice to have somebody who's outside of the network to be able to come in and just put some fresh light on it, and that's been really helpful for me.
Excellent. And the other really important thing, so not just about what we want to do moving forwards, the other really important thing is cash. Cash is king in a business. So how do you keep on top of the cash?
Well, we're quite lucky because our payment terms are 7 days. And I've got to say, touch wood, everyone's been really great about that. So we just keep that coming and it keeps flowing and it's really nice. We also use things like Go Cardless. Again, another piece of technology. And actually, we were asked by clients to set that up because it's one thing that, they use us to save time at the end of the day. And they didn't want to have to run payments either and have to remember. So they just said, can you set something up? So on the Go portal, there's an access to sign up yourself. We don't force anyone to. It's completely up to them. But actually, I'd say 90% of the clients really want to use it. So they sign up. And then, by using our account system, we've moved to QuickBooks. It's quite straightforward and easy. It's great. It links to Go Cardless and it's kind of all automated. And it's something that I do on a regular basis is just, keep checking in, make sure everyone's got the invoices. But generally, I've got to say, everyone's really brilliant and amazing. There's not many I have to chase. And it just keeps our cash flow flowing nicely.
Excellent. Good. That's what we like to hear. That's the one of the important things in terms of keeping on top of. I think
it's harder if you've got a 30-day payment. I think it's harder then. But for us, we've quick, snappy, done. Absolutely.
So a lot of the work you talked about, you do for clients is around marketing and market development, as well as the VA, but the marketing you talk about. So, what are the most successful marketing for yourselves? How do you market, go to market yourselves?
Networking is a huge thing because I'm all about people. So to me, I like to build those connections to find those right clients. And before COVID, we used to run something called Go Get Networking. And it got so busy. It did get really busy. It was hot. It was busy. It was a very busy room. It was a bit of a sweatbox, as I don't think anyone after COVID would want to go back and do it again still. I think we've all got probably a bit of trauma from being in that space, to the point where even the hotel told us off for being too noisy once. So it was around 80 people in a space, and we used to bring everyone in, and we used to have a particular way of being able to rotate around the room and meet new people. So you didn't stick with who you came in with unless you really wanted to. And that was great. And it did push us locally, but I didn't really, it got to the point where, we would always meet the same people. And I think although that's good and it's repetitive and, you stay in people's minds and that helps, the virtual online networking that we did through COVID was actually really beneficial just to be able to reach new cities and expand our horizons, so to speak. So I have looked at different options to run different, to take Go Get Networking online. I'd like to do it more. And I did come across something called Topia, which is really odd. I don't know if you've come across it. It's like it's known as spatial chat, and you set up a virtual world and you just pick a color of an avatar. So it's not like you're there for ages saying, I've got blonde hair, I'm fine. You don't have to do any of that. It's just literally like a little frustration character that moves around the board. It's like a little plastic person. You just pick a color and then you're in. And then as you move around with your mouse and point and click up to other avatars within the world, you can see them appear on video and talk to them. And you can chat in groups of 10. And then as you move away, they fade. So you can basically work a room just as you would at a real event. So it's not like a Zoom call where you're forced into a breakout room or scheduled into something. With chats, it's not like that. It's literally a case of it's a virtual space and you just walk around freely and meet people as you go. So that's something that I've done a couple of trials on. Some people love it and get it. Some people hate it. So it's just, it's such a new concept. I think it's just, people grasping that new technology. It's another thing to get used to. And some are all in and some are all out. So it's just a case of working that and seeing if I can kind of get that set right. It's quite time consuming to create your world, but once you've done it, it's very good. So I'd like to do more of those. And I'd like to maybe do some regionally for people that want to meet people in their area, and maybe do, one that's like a national one so anyone can jump on board and meet people all over the UK. Last time we did it, we had somebody from Spain and somebody from Germany pop in, which is random.
Wow.
So yeah, so it is different. So it's a new way of networking in the same way that I used to, but it allows me to, not have to travel, be a little more green, and be able to reach people in different areas.
Sounds fascinating. Yes, definitely have to look at that. And I think the reality is with any type of networking, whether it's Zoom, face-to-face, there's people that like it, people don't. And even the different face-to-face ones, there are so many different formulas, and some people like those and some people like those.
Exactly. Just finding what works. And that's what I'm just trying to sort of dabble with at the moment. But
What works for you, and in terms of you get the benefit from it, in terms of enjoying it.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely.
So, what do you like most about your business?
I like being able to help people. I really like the fact that we're taking a lot of weight off people's shoulders. I love that. And I very much like the team that I have. Really feel very blessed to have such brilliant people. Because without them, there would be no business. It's brilliant. It's just, it's really nice. And when we all come together, it's just like everyone just gels. It's lovely.
And one thing you might change if you were to start over again?
One thing I might change if I was to start over again? Probably to have had the Go portal straight from the beginning might have been great, but then I suppose you don't really know what you need until you need it. That's a really hard one because I'm not sure I would change very much, actually, except for probably... one thing that I think is always a challenge is we do offer a pay-as-you-go, and that's absolutely fine. And we want to keep that as flexible as possible. But when somebody needs, say, 3 hours a week, it's when somebody wants that 3 hours a week across 5 days. And that's quite hard because then the team member becomes on call. So if it's a small amount of hours, then it makes sense if it's a little bit more blocked, or a little bit more scheduled. So it makes it easier. So I think that clarity from the start would have been better. But we're really flexible anyway, to be honest, probably more flexible than anyone else. So I think that's it. It was just, I think that's been the hardest thing to manage, but not very many, only about 2 people that we've come across that kind of want that expectation where it's a little but every single day. And that makes it really hard for us to work with other clients. So we just want to be able to make sure that we have a clear structure in place, and that client knows when we're there for them, if they need such little time, because we still want to be able to help.
So you've been in the VA industry for sort of 10 years. Is there anything that sort of particularly drives you crazy about the industry and that you would change if you could?
I think there's so many different apps. It's so many. Everyone works with a different app, and actually, it's fun. And sometimes you're like, "Oh wow, it's a new one. It's great." But then in another couple of weeks, it's something else. And I think that's always going to be the case, isn't it? I think everything grows and gets better and better and changes. But generally, I think once you've mastered that sort of app, you kind of master all. But it's always a case of every week someone says something, I'm like, I haven't heard of that. Why haven't I heard of that? And I just wish I knew all those apps. But I don't think anyone ever will. I think that is a minefield, isn't it? That every week a new one gets developed and somebody else is trying something else out. And we like to flow and go with it. Brilliant.
So what are your goals for this year?
My goals for this year would be to actually master and see whether or not we can do more of that customer service facing, and see whether the team, I don't know, whether we could maybe do some more contract work, as in could we win a contract perhaps for a year doing some customer service facing so that the client doesn't have to manage their inboxes and, I don't know, maybe do some online tutorials, that sort of thing. Something that I do myself is I do help on recruitment sometimes because it's the same type of skills at the end of the day. It's not something I've set out to do. I do always help people find really flexible support. But there's the odd occasion where some clients do come to me and say, look, they're really looking for, I don't know, a personal assistant, or they're really looking for a front of house, or, something like that. And I do quite enjoy finding those people as well. So I do like to dabble a little bit in recruitment if anyone needs that as well. But obviously I'm not a large recruitment agency, so I work in a very different way. It's very much got to be character and people led.
Brilliant. Well, Naomi, what a fantastic conversation, and really sort of getting under the skin of Go Get Organised and what you've done over the last 10 years, how you've brought a network of women together, and now men as well, but that you work together like a business with values and structures, but actually you're disparate and all remote working in terms of doing that. And you've built that, not just a community, but you've got that real business feel about everything you've created in terms of doing that. Your focus on picking the right people in terms of knowing that they're the right fit to the growth in terms of the values. I love the way you realized that you had to use technology correctly and to bring everything together. You were frustrated with timesheets and you've built your own technology. And fantastic statement. Don't underestimate that. People don't ask me how to use the portal. That is a very special gift that you've created there in terms of doing that. And as not only are you disparate in terms of team, but you come together to think about what comes next, what you're doing in terms of doing that. And I love the networking ideas that you're playing with, but also that you've actually used networking to help grow and develop your business really successfully. And I love this idea of, you talked about your passion is helping people, taking the weight off their business life and bringing brilliant people together. Fantastic story. Thank you very much for sharing it with us. We always finish off with a quick fire round. So it's really sort of whatever comes to your head first in terms of doing things. Okay. Just a few short questions. Right. Here we go. If you could go back to younger you, what advice would you give yourself?
Believe in yourself and be more confident always.
Brilliant. Excellent. What books do you recommend?
I am not a massive reader, but at the moment I am reading the Matthew Perry autobiography, which is very good. Not so businessy. I tend to listen to more podcasts than I do read, but yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Well, that's the next question. Which podcast do you listen to and would you recommend?
There was one the other day, and I should totally have the name of this, but I was listening to a lady who had set up Bumble. And it was really interesting. And I was listening to her story and everything about how she was perceived in doing that. And yeah, it's been really interesting. So I don't know her name and I should have taken board that. So I'm so sorry, but it was really engaging.
Brilliant. So what apps do you use on your phone or would you recommend to people to use?
So on my phone, what apps would I recommend people to use? So Slack has been very good for us. I think for us, I use it as a business kind of WhatsApp. It's really nice, straightforward and easy. And then obviously you can call and message and things like that. So that's something that I use on a regular basis. Another app, I'm just thinking, what is on my phone that I use right now on the spot? I'm just trying to think. What else do I use on my day-to-day basis? Obviously, Zoom is constantly on my phone as well as my MacBook. But I would say Miro board. Love it. Don't know if you know it, but it's like a giant whiteboard and it never runs out. So you can take it with you and you don't have to just have it in your office. So when you write on your whiteboard in your office, whenever you need the information, it's never with you unless you take a photograph. Miro board basically is a whiteboard that it just travels with you and expands all the time. Love it.
I use something very similar called Nebo, but yes.
Yeah, love it. Brilliant. Yeah, it's a great concept. I think that's just so simple, but really, really effective.
Yeah. So what has been your most successful marketing tactics to date?
Definitely the networking, I think, because I feel like people buy from people, probably more than anything. So I think definitely me attending other people's networking as well, but running our own networking events has definitely been key. Obviously, the website is important and I think it shows credibility. And we've tried to make everything really transparent with pricing. So I would say definitely those for us. It's just something that, as I said, it's such, when people have a smaller business, they really want to trust in somebody. And I feel like when they meet that person, they know. And I feel like that's where it comes gold for us, definitely.
Brilliant. And who's had the most influence on you as a business leader?
I really like Bill Gates as in with Microsoft, because I think what he's done and how much he gives to charity is shocking. When I've read about what he does for charities, him and his, ex-wife now, or soon to be, what they have given back is just amazing. And I feel like, that is quite inspirational to be able to be that successful and build that much, but always still return it and give back. I think is brilliant. So to me, I think he's pretty inspirational.
Thank you very much. And the final question, how can people get hold of you?
So easy, go to www.gogetorganised.co.uk or hello@gogetorganised.co.uk.
Brilliant. Well, Naomi, thank you very much for this conversation. It's been fascinating. I've really enjoyed it, and I know our audience will get lots of great takeaways.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed that discussion, and if you're building and scaling your own business, you might well be interested in our book, The Entrepreneurial Scale-Up System. And it's exactly what it says on the tin. It's a practical handbook around scaling a business in a structured way. And you can order a copy on all your favorite online retailers, including an audio version, or you can find it and other supporting resources on our website, www.esusgroup.co.uk. That's esusgroup.co.uk, which is esusgroup.co.uk.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.